Jaco, and from the Navy SEAL as well. And we're going to be talking about the collapse of the deep state system. He says that we're going in the right direction. Michael, thank you so much for joining me. How are you, and what have you been up to?
Thanks for having me back, Nicholas. It's kind of a little, trying to get our times right. We've been traveling quite a bit, so it's nice to be back on your show again. We've been doing a lot of traveling, doing a lot of talking, been on other people's shows like this, and it's a great time because we're seeing the collapse of the deep state, like we're going to be talking about.
Absolutely. Now, when you say collapse of the deep state, how do you mean? Because there's so many people watching this right now thinking, why is Trump playing with it? Why is he working with, Israel, apparently? Why is he, seems to be, fighting Israel's wars? What do you think about that? Is that still, is he playing a bluff there? Is he playing Netanyahu? What do you think is going on there?
Yeah, playing Netanyahu. So for the longest time, obviously, the Rothschild controlled Israel has been running a lot of, their own missions and so forth, using the United States, the deep state, basically, where the United States has been their military arm for a very long time. So Trump has flipped that. We're using Israel as our military arm, taking down Iran. So all the years, all the decades that I spent as a Navy SEAL and CIA, hunting terrorists and so forth, all of the terrorists that mainly we were going after were sponsored by Iran. So that money system is being destroyed by President Trump and the White Hats right now. And they're using Israel. So they flipped it. So now Israel is doing the bidding of the United States, the White Hats, instead of the other way around. So I know a lot of people still, feel that system is still in place because it's been there for so long, 40, 50, 60 years, however long it's been, we've been manipulated here in the United States. But now that system is flipped. But the deep state, they have, their ties within the media, the social systems and so forth. And they're still trying to present that Israel is the enemy. I guess Israel was great at one time, and now they're trying to flip it so they turn everybody thinking that the United States is being used by Israel. No, it's the other way around.
So you're saying that the United States has now flipped it, and Trump and his administration are now using Israel.
Absolutely. So they're taking down Hamas, taking down Hezbollah. I've been in Beirut. It was a mess there. Hezbollah was basically, slowly strangling Beirut, Lebanon as a whole. It was very sad because Lebanon, absolutely incredibly beautiful country, and everywhere the Islamists would take over, they turn it into a ghetto. So it was very, very unfortunate. I think that's being turned around now by the United States and the new puppet. We're no longer the puppet, but the puppet of United States, Israel. So Israel's taking down all of the enemies that we should have been taking down, like President Trump keeps saying. For 47 years, this Islamist group came in and took over Iran, another beautiful country with beautiful people. Same thing in Palestine, same thing in Lebanon, same thing in Afghanistan, where I, was also, as a Navy SEAL, and then as, a CIA contractor. Same thing in Iraq, on and on and on. All throughout the Middle East, Iran has been, subverting the goodwill of people all around, just like we saw in Venezuela. You had a deep state activity, taking over Venezuela. Look how easily that was taken out. Now we're seeing in Iran a superb, takedown of the Iranian regime. So Pahlavi, who's the son of the Shah, has basically told us that you don't need boots on the ground. So I said right from the beginning, we're going to have to put boots on the ground because there's no way these Islamists are going to give up that country. I've fought them for like decades. They're once they dig in, You're going to have to uproot them hard. So now Pahlavi is saying, you don't need to put boots on the ground because we have the military, not the IRGC, which is the Iranian, guard, that's deep state. You have the military, the people's military of Iran are basically flipping, and they're ready to take their country back. So you have these, different immortal guards, they're calling themselves. So the military is coming in, they're forming a new military that's going to take over Iran. They'll need our help. I think with, we come in with air power. It'll be easy for them to take that down. It'll be the same thing at Cuba. We're going to take Cuba down just like we did probably Venezuela. So we're moving in that direction where we're saying, the people that have been controlling Cuba, we want to arrest them just like we did, in Venezuela. Once we arrest that person or go in and get them, then Cuba's going to fall because the people are tired of it. So once they have that manipulation removed, like we're going to see in Iran, then that whole system throughout the whole Middle East is going to collapse.
Right. So all of these years that Netanyahu has been saying, the Iranian regime and more so the nuclear weapons, they shouldn't have nuclear weapons. Was he correct when he was saying that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you give a rogue country nuclear weapons, geez, they would have manipulated the world with that.
But don't you think he's been saying this for years so that he can attack Iran and take over Iran like he wants to do with Gaza, the West Bank, Lebanon?
Yeah, and I know that's the argument a lot of people have. They've been saying this for decades, that we have to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. And that was how they were able to, continue striking Iran and so forth. But now we've seen that flip. We've seen President Trump get involved, and the situation was actually real this time, that they were very, very close to getting that nuclear weapon. And so we've stopped that out. We're going to take their ability to create a nuclear weapon. You don't give a child, a 5-year-old child, a pistol or a rifle. That's stupid. That's what you'll be doing. A radical child, that wants to go out and kill people to get control and maintain their power system through the deep state, through the City of London. So the City of London, all the way down into, they put these Islamists in power there in Iran, and so that's being collapsed. So this entire worldwide system of control, manipulation, money laundering, all the different things that we've been seeing for, decades and decades and decades is now being destroyed.
How about Israel? Are they allowed to have a nuclear weapon? And why don't they disclose if they do or not? Why are they allowed to have a nuclear weapon, but Iran is not?
Well, the same reason that the United States and Britain and France and all these other countries have nuclear weapons, because they're somewhat, I guess, responsible with that nuclear weapon, and it's a deterrent. So we've seen the same thing in Pakistan and India. India had nukes, and then somehow, some way, Pakistan got nukes, and so it's kind of like a deterrent. So one side doesn't blast the other side into obsolescence. So that's one way that we've been doing that. I don't think the nukes are going to be used, but imagine if they were. Things would get out of hand very quickly around the world.
So when you say that Hamas has been taken down, who has taken down Hamas?
Israel through United States support. So again, taking down the deep state. So radical Islamists. If most people have never fought radical Islamists, I have for decades. They're horrific. What they do. They cut people's heads off. I've seen them blow people up in markets that were innocent. I've seen the results of that. I've seen people on the side of the road, families that had roadside bombs that were meant for military that happened to catch a family that was traveling in their van,
Mm.
burned alive in the truck. So yeah, these people are extreme evil, and we've been allowing them to coexist with us for a long time, and to actually come into our countries, Australia, New Zealand, and throughout the Europe, here in the United States, uh, actual criminals, terrorists,
Yeah.
have been coming into our countries. So that's got to be stopped. That's got to be turned around. They have to be sent back to wherever they came from. And I think that movement is gaining speed throughout Europe. We're seeing it in Ireland. Probably going to see it in your country, in UK, pretty soon. But these people are going to be turned around and sent back because they're literally terrorists.
Yeah.
A lot of the Syrian terrorists that were, had their brides, that these unfortunately these women that left their countries to be brides of these terrorists. They found out the hard way that these were very evil people, but some of them converted. Some of them converted. They denounced the West. They felt just like we see in the Quran that unbelievers can be killed. So that's their mentality. That's what they think. It's basically against all of our constitutions throughout the world that we have allowed these terrorists that want to kill us and take over our countries to infiltrate, and
Mm.
I think that's going to be turned around pretty soon.
Don't you think Zionists are just as bad?
Absolutely, yeah. So the Zionist is pretty much the same thing as some of these Muslim terrorists. Now, some people think that Israel is just nothing but a Zionist country. How was Israel formed? They were formed, from the Rothschild group, and we know the Rothschilds are trying to take over and control the world. They're the deep state, so we can't allow that to happen, of course. But just like we see in every country throughout the United States, throughout Europe, in other countries, we have a deep state that has been manipulated. In some cases, still. I think in your country, the deep state still is at the very top. So it's gonna be turned around. Same thing in France. Same thing in Germany. But the people, like like we just saw in Venezuela, like we're going to see in Cuba, like we're going to see in Iran, are going to rise up and strike back and take back their countries. I think the same thing will happen probably throughout Europe. Same thing. The United States, we're doing it here in the United States. We just saw Tina Peters get released today from prison. So you had the deep state in Colorado. The Democrats basically had taken this innocent woman that was trying to reveal that the election process was compromised, and they crushed her rights and they threw her in prison. Now she's free, and now they're starting to put together through the Department of Justice, basically a pushback on the Colorado governance. And we'll probably see some of those people actually in prison at some point because they actually absolutely committed crimes. Now we're moving into L.A., the mayor of L.A., and we're seeing Spencer Pratt, who is a Republican, who is probably going to win or getting very close, or at least one of the top contenders for the mayor of L.A. So this is a collapse of a system that's been in place and controlled California for a long time. Same thing, deep state is basically being broken down. So people are starting to see people are rising up. People are going to vote on a massive scale tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. If Spencer Pratt, is one of the top contenders, or if he gets 51% of the vote, then it's a done deal. He will be the mayor. So we're going to see that. We've seen, deep state, and I'm not just picking on Democrats because we have the same thing in the Republican Party as well. We call them rhinos, Republican in name only, a uniparty. So we've seen in 3 states, 3 people that were very, had been elected over and over again that were not really part of, the agenda that, United States people, the people of the United States voted for President Trump to be president. So he's taking down these people that don't vote in the way that we want them to vote. They've been voting against we, the people. So those people were taken out. So we've got three different, rhinos, major rhinos that were taken out in Texas, Louisiana, and Kentucky. And we're going to continue to see that process, I believe, going forward. We'll see the process probably in Europe. We'll see the process soon in Iran, then in Cuba, if not sooner. Who knows? Maybe Cuba will go before Iran. But all these different countries are going to go. All these countries, the people are going to rise up and they're going to take back their countries. And it's always supposed to be for we the people. Somehow, some way, we've allowed or they have taken control over we the people through these deep state governances. And they are going to be collapsed very quickly.
Oh, we hope so. Absolutely. I want to go back to Hamas because a lot of the viewers who are watching this believe that Hamas was an inside job by Israel. What are your views on that?
Oh, I totally agree. I believe that the deep state side of Israel instigated that. Now, remember, President Trump wasn't involved during that time frame, or so we thought. Well, he wasn't in the position of president, but behind the scenes, because we know that Biden was a double, and so we're seeing this takedown. Same thing with Netanyahu. Netanyahu's gone too, so we're seeing a double for Netanyahu, and so all these people that are or were evil and manipulative, like we saw with Netanyahu, basically. Organizing that, because you look at how long it took for the Israeli military to respond to that, it's quite obvious. They let them come in, they let them kill people, and then they came in and hours and hours later. That's ridiculous. It should have never happened to begin with. That was allowed to happen. Israel was warned by Egypt. Egypt even warned them. You're going to have an attack. We're getting it on our side. So everybody knew that Israel was going to get attacked, and then magically get attacked, and nothing was done for hours and hours and hours. That was to get the public involved, and public wanting them to go into, Palestine and basically, hammer those innocent people. A lot of them innocent, obviously. War. I've been in war. For most of my life, the innocents suffer more than the combatants, always. So this is what we're seeing, I believe, with President Trump. He's not going in and hammering. He's just surgically removing, the top people. This is what I did when I was in the CIA. We would surgically remove the top people over and over. So whoever stepped up, all right, they're gone. Who else wants to be in charge? Okay, you're next. So this is the way of surgical strikes. This is the way of, I think, perfection. So you don't have to, come in and just carpet bomb, a whole country. This is what if you do that, if we did that in Iran, it would take them decades and decades to recover from that. So this way, it will be a very quick deal, just like we saw in Venezuela. So obviously, Iran has a lot more support, a lot more money and backing than Venezuela did. That's why it's taken a little bit more time, but we'll see this regime collapse. They've had 47 years to ingrain and dig in and manipulate things. So it's going to take a little bit more time for them, but as we're seeing, it's right on the cusp of turning.
Absolutely. So, with this Islamic extremist, completely agree with how horrific they are. And obviously we know about the Zionists and the Rothschild and how they want to control the world. They want to, in fact, make the whole world Jewish. But for me, that's not really the real Jews. The real Semitic people are the Palestinians. They are the real Semites. And the real anti-Semitics are the Ashkenazi and Khazarian mafia who operate the state of Israel. And they are pretending to be Jews, but really they are Luciferians or dark consciousness or disconnected from source type of consciousness that just want to, create a synthetic reality, everything synthetic, detach us from organic reality and from ourselves. My theory, and I want you to tell me what you think. My theory is that this Islamic, corruption that we're seeing flooding into everyone's countries, and you see all these gang rapes and all of these things going around, although it's very horrific, it's barbaric. I think that benefits Israel because it masks, or smoke screens us from what's really going on with them, whilst they are teaching us in schools and our children about how bad Hitler was. So what do you think about that? Because, what do you think?
Yeah, the Zionist, the Islamist, one and the same, part of the same system. City of London, all part of the same. The Vatican, all one and the same. So we're seeing the collapse of that entire system. So we think they're against each other, but they're one and the same. So we have to collapse both those systems at the same time, and that's what's happening. So that's the confusion I think a lot of people have. They look at Israel and they think Israel bad. No, it's like you just said, the Zionist. And then we look at the Muslims. The Muslims bad. It's like, no, we look at the Islamist fundamentalists. They're bad. If we look at a lot of different groups, Democrat Party is like Luciferian. It's like it's incredible. And then parts of the Republican Party. You could look at the same thing happening in the UK. Keir Starmer, should have stepped down, still holding on to power because that's a power base that a lot of these people have. The same thing in France, same thing in Germany. Those people that are in those positions of power were selected. They weren't chosen by the people. They were selected to be in those positions because they allow this criminality to exist within the countries and throughout the world. So understanding who are the people that are the real evil people, and then focusing on them instead of focusing on a group of people. This has been the way, throughout time. There was a time where in World War I, the Germans were evil, and World War II, the Germans were evil again. Are they evil still? I don't think so, but maybe because they're the people that are at the top. All right. It seems like maybe that, Nazi group has come back to NATO, or basically always, I think, was part of NATO, and has come back to some of these, positions of power throughout Europe. So we have to clean out that, leadership that is controlling the world. And I think people are starting to see that. They're starting to see because their economies are collapsing. They're seeing like I'm talking about LA, there's, drug addicts, dying in the streets. And the people that were given money, were given power to fix those, have done the opposite. It's gotten worse. So this is what we're seeing, throughout a lot of these countries. So the people in power are stealing from we the people, taxing us more, taking that money and doing what with it? They're not fixing the problems in our countries. Our economies should be booming all around the world. That will happen once these people that are in control and manipulative power and that are, basically taking the money that we give them and skimming it. They're getting, their 10%, almost like a satanic, they take their share. You do the church you get 10% to the church, and the satanic group of Zionists and Islamists and so forth are taking their dark share, and we have to stop all that. And that we're moving in that direction.
Yeah,
but more people that understand this, and got to choose a side here. It seems like everybody wants to fight everything. There are good people out there like me and you that are helping people see a bigger picture. But if you continually find something wrong with everything or everyone, we're starting to see that in a lot of the Truther community. I think some of these people have wormed their way up to the top. We've like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and some of these other people. We're starting to see there's a dark side to them, and they're attacking, the people that we again have elected, President Trump, to take down this evil. And so these people are trying to create, this division. And so we have to stay focused, not let ourselves get taken off track by these other groups. Yes, question everything. Do your critical thinking, do your research. But if you do that, you're going to find that, some of these people that have, been the people we've gone to for a long time, although you and I, we should be the ones that people have been, focused on. But, we're incredibly suppressed. You and I both lost our YouTube channels, and now we've gotten them back. But I can put out something in YouTube in order to get 1/3 of the views that I have on Rumble. Now, in YouTube now, I have the same amount of subscribers. Again, it finally worked it back up, but there was a lot of suppression because when I first grew my channel, it went to 250,000 like that. I've spent the last year hammering and, doing show after show after show, more than I used to do before, having guests on that have a lot, usually in the past have had massive views, and it hasn't happened because of suppression. And when I put it on Rumble, I'll get 3 times the number of views. It's crazy. But it's obvious when you start to see that, they had to let us back because there was pressure to let, free speech come back in. But it's not free. They're suppressing us massively because I'll do a show. By the end of that show, I have 10,000 views. So people came in massive numbers to watch the information I put out. And then, I looked at the views this morning on a show that he did where it had 10,000 views in a couple hours, and there's only 1,000 more views. There's something, obviously going on there. They massively suppressed, took off the ability for people to find that show or for that show to go out and spread. So the control systems are there still, and we have to still. You and I, we keep, plugging away and, trying to inform people, but it's a process. It's tough, but we're getting it done.
Absolutely. Back to Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. I have to say that from a distance, they might look like there's a dark side to them, but when you listen to what they actually say, I think good on them that they're asking all the questions and all the right questions. And I remember Tucker Carlson said something about Islam, about he praised Islam, but him praising Islam, and I saw that, and a lot of people didn't like that. That wasn't him praising Islam. That was him. It was a sarcastic mockery to Zionists. Yeah, he was basically saying that he would prefer Islam than Zionism. He was basically saying that Islam is a saint compared to Zionism. And the reason why he says that, in my opinion, is because although I can't, I've got my own opinion about Islam, and I completely agree with how barbaric, we both think it is. Islam at least believes that Jesus was a prophet. They respect Jesus. On the other hand, Zionism and Judaism, the Jews, they believe that Jesus is burning in hell and Mary, the Virgin Mary, is a whore. That's the difference. So that's why he made that comment. I just wanted to clear that up because I know you said, there could be a dark side to them, but they do question everything about why is President Trump accepting 200 million from Miriam Addison, I think her name is, who is a Zionist. Why is he accepting that money? Yes, he could be accepting that money. He could be playing 5D chess. There's the art of the deal here. And there's CIA stuff that you understand that none of us do. Okay, that things are going on in the background. Nothing like Candace Owens would understand. And, we don't know what's going on. Yes, he could be pocketing the money and he could be stringing them along. But from an ordinary perspective, like myself and Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, they would they would have to, in their right mind, question these things. Why is he accepting this? Why is he fighting Israel's wars? And I think it's a good thing to question. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So what they're going to do is like not take the money, and it goes to someone else that goes against them.
Could be.
So yeah. So and who do we know for sure that she's a Zionist, or is that how I can tell you that people have attacked my credibility on a massive scale since I've been coming out, and I'm like above reproach in a lot of these areas, but who knows exactly? I don't know that person. I don't know that woman. Have done the research on her. I just hear that she's a Zionist. All right. So, okay. So she's a Zionist, and she's giving money to someone who's destroying Zionism. So that's one thing you can look at. So again, Tucker Carlson he's choosing sides, it sounds like, but he's choosing a side of the same coin. It's kind of like the political parties are like, there's almost like there is no difference. They all fight each other, and then they go out and have a beer and dinner together afterwards. But so they're pretty much a uniparty, but they lead us to believe that they're going to fight for us. If you choose my side, then I'm going to fight for you. They don't do anything either side. So that's why we're getting rid of some of them. And so that's you're choosing the Islamist over Zionism, because just like I told you, they're both one and the same. So you're choosing a Democrat over a Republican, or a Republican over a Democrat, where we know that's pretty much a uniparty. And we're bringing people in, and in a lot of cases, which have no background in politics, but want to do the right thing. Anyone can come in and do the right thing. It's very easy because all the manipulative control systems that are there. You just have puppets that come into a position, and the manipulative control systems are in the background, basically do the work. So now we're having people that are coming in to do the right thing, but it's going to be a challenge because you have all the manipulative, control systems in the background that have been operating for a long time, the non-elected that have been running the show. So we have to overcome that as well. Like, we may see a really good person come in, like President Trump, but he's having to work. Remember the first term, they came after him, Russia. It's like he could barely do anything in his first term. And then he got his election stolen from him in 2020. So he's working in the background, keeping things going. They're coming at him with lawfare like crazy, trying to put him in jail. And he was able to, defeat that and then get elected again. So, I mean, it's who else would do something like that? It's like,
absolutely.
You have to be very, very, focused, and you have to be able to see all of the different groups that are out there. Yes, me being in the CIA, have a bigger picture. Having been in the top levels of the military, I have a bigger picture. But it's really easy to see. We can talk about this, like I'm saying. There's everything's compromised, everything. So to get someone in there into the top that is a good person and wants to help we the people, work with we the people, it's a tough go. So when you find them and they're willing to give of themselves, we need to support them more. Yes, question. I've questioned a lot of things President Trump has done as well, but all the things that I've questioned him on, it came out that he was right, and he was, it was a bigger picture that even I didn't see at the time. So, I don't see the bigger picture on some of these things. I thought that we should have just gone in Iran and just like hammered the hell out of them and get it done. But I see, because we've, backed off and just surgically, continued to hit targets, like a special forces group. That's the way we would have done it. It's like a special forces, mastermind group in the military right now. So I'm like, this is amazing. I've never seen anything like this, doing the historical research throughout time. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. This is just stunning, how effective it is. But a lot of people, because, they look at history and they look at the old ways, and maybe they have someone that they look up to that it's uninforming them, or they think they have a bigger picture, but they don't. and so they follow them. So these are the things, that this happens throughout time, but we'll see the collapse of the system, I think, accelerate probably as we move, closer to the 2026, election that we're going to have here in the United States in November. So we saw, and this is what I love about the UK, because when we saw, like we saw with, this UK basically came in and voted for We the People, I believe, and Keir Starmer is almost completely gone, has very, very little support. And so he's staying there, and he just keeps destroying himself. Every time he speaks, he destroys himself a little bit more. And people are starting to see a bigger picture. Maybe that's why he's staying. So we can help more people wake up. And that's what we saw with Biden. When Biden came in, it's like, all right, this is going to be a big wake up call for a lot of people. Yeah. Just how corrupt and how evil this political system we have in the United States, especially on the Democrat side, is. So
100% agree. I do think that Keir Starmer is the Joe Biden in the UK in his own right to wake people up. Absolutely. I do think that.
That's good coming from you. Thank you.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say is I want to go into a little bit of spirituality before we finish up. And I want to say that there's a lot of channeling going on by a lot of spiritual people. And they're all saying very similar things, how the new earth is here and we're entering this new frequency, this Christ consciousness, the return of Christ consciousness. Mm. And I think that what we're going to experience is a slow collapse of the control system, and it's slowly crumbling. And everything that you're talking about today obviously reflects that. And what do you think about that? Have you heard anything like that? Because I know you do a lot of remote viewing as well and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would say I'm more spiritual than I am like a hardcore military guy, because that spirituality side that I've talked about in my books and my courses and so forth, and on a lot of these shows, is what's overcome a lot of the dark, evil side. So yeah, I agree with you. It's a process. So we bring in truth, we bring in light, and instead of, like I talk about, like I'm hardcore, military guy, I could go in and just like, I could take down, Iran in a few days, but because we're doing it nice and slow and methodical and easy, we're allowing more people to wake up. We're allowing more people to get involved. I see the bigger picture of that now, and that's a spiritual way to do things. And I think across the board, we're allowing people to see, just how corrupt, how evil a lot of these systems have been against us, and when we expose them and they collapse and all the money dries up and the people that were manipulating and paying people off to do evil, that the money's no longer there. And so that system just collapses. Instead of coming in and hammering all the people that were involved in it, we're just letting it collapse, and it just disappears. I think it's magnificent.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a spiritual thing, spiritual awakening process that's going on for the world right now.
Do you feel something different is in the energy? For an example, I sometimes feel detached from reality, and I feel, sometimes I feel that my reality is a bit dreamy sometimes. And I feel that it's all background noise. I feel there's a lot of calm. Mm-hmm. And then but sometimes I feel I love being on my own a lot of the time. But then I feel that I was going to say, I feel that I crave a lot of, sometimes I crave stimulation, I don't know if it's because we're experiencing the dissolving of our identities, or, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I've been through that process many times, and usually I have gone into the wilderness. Of course, I'm surrounded by wilderness now, so it's very calming, and so when we go through this process of letting go of all this other stuff, it's a lot easier. A lot of people get caught up in the craziness of it, and they get crazy. I say, like you, just take a step back, stay calm, stay centered. Don't go one way or the other. So if you're in that centered realm, you're not letting your consciousness get captured. and controlled and manipulated. So some people have to have complete control. That's an extreme. And then some people just get wigged out. They're just like their minds just go crazy and chaos and everything. Some people like that. Some people like to have control, but those extremes are not, the perfection that we're looking for in the future. So that realm that you're in, we're trying to help people get there so that they can see through all of the manipulations and control systems and chaos that are trying to create fear and all that stuff. So we can see through that, stay centered, work together, and create the future that we all want.
Absolutely. Michael, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, like always. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Yeah, always. Stay in that love vibration, stay in that love centered, because it allows you to, tap into higher consciousness sources and stay centered during this, this movement, as we were just talking about, through the chaos and through the control systems.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael. And we'll speak again very soon. You take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Nick.